On behalf of the whole of the United Kingdom, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. My current job, as you see, is Head of External Relations, but for 15 years prior to that, I headed the quality group in Yellow Pages in the United Kingdom, leading us up to, as you heard, winning the Large Company Award at the European Quality Awards last year. So I feel I come to you today with some experience of winning awards and creating a quality culture in a company. My talk is all about creating a quality culture, and I have to try to compress 10 years, at least 10 years, into 30 minutes. So in that time, I'm going to have to miss out some bits and only talk about certain others, so please bear with me. We are very proud to have created a statistic which comes from our annual staff survey, showing that 98% of our people say that improving quality is part of their normal job, which out of a staff of 3,000 means we have 60 people who are still not sure. I made a mistake last year of talking to a conference like this and saying that we were trying to identify those 60 people and then we were going to reprogram them, and it was a joke. It didn't get a laugh then either. We do not know who these 60 people are, we are not identifying them, and we are not reprogramming them. A little bit about Yellow Pages, the company. You can imagine what we do. We produce every year 77 Yellow Pages directories for every part of the UK and 6 business pages, which are business-to-business directories. We only cover the main industrial areas of the UK with those. We deliver 26 million directories, so we have 26 million customers of our products, but we only have 350,000 advertising customers, and these are people who pay us to go into the directory. So we have 2 groups of customers to please. We have a Talking Pages product, which is dialing a telephone number and speaking to an operator who will give you Yellow Pages information. That currently gets about 1 million calls a month. So again, it's just to give you an idea of scale. We are also the UK selling agent for Europages, which is a pan-European directory. And last but not least, as you imagine, we are moving very heavily into the e-world. We have a very important e-commerce portal which is growing day by day. We are investing millions of pounds on our e-world. We are shifting resource people into that area, and we are really transforming our whole company. It is a major activity for us. And our current usage is about 2.5 million page impressions a month. But that will have to be 10, 15, 20, 30 as we go through the year. But at the moment, we're making a big impression. Again, just to give you some numbers, our products are used, as it says there, over 150 million times a month. That is not a sales pitch. This is just to give you a scale of activity. A little bit about our company. We are part of BT. We employ 3,000 people in the UK in about 11 main offices. The main part really on the slide is the fact that 1,000 of those people work from home. And creating a quality culture in an organisation is infinitely more difficult when you have 1,000 people that you can't get together very often with to talk quality with. So we're very proud of the fact we achieved our quality award, and we have these people working away from home, or working away from offices. And again, very recently, last August, we acquired a very important step into the United States market by buying the largest independent Yellow Pages publisher in the United States. So we now have a foot both sides of the Atlantic. A little bit about, no, it's not going to come up. Yes, it is. Our business excellence approach, I have not time today to talk about our ISO 9000 approach and all the other work we've done, so very much I'm concentrating on our use of the model, the business excellence model, which started in 1993 with our managing director making that statement. That was the first year we used the EFQM model against which to assess ourselves. Every year since then, we have written the 75-page report. Those who are familiar with the model will know about that. And we have it assessed externally by expert consultants in the UK. So it was rather like going for the award, but we weren't. We were just doing it internally. Every year we learnt from that, and we fed the results of our assessment back into the company. In 1995, individual members of the top team owned criterion sections, the 9 parts of the model. I owned customer satisfaction. But it was beginning to get into the lifeblood of the way Yellow Pages was run, where individual top team members owned sections of the model. We were beginning to build it into the way we ran our company. In 1995 also, we fed the results of our assessments into our planning process, so that the strengths of what we were told we were doing well, we did more of, and the areas for improvement became activities fed into the planning process and became programs for us to improve the way we did business. This way you make sure that business excellence is not there and running the company is there. They are very much integrated into one whole. One of the key things, and it depends how far advanced you are in your use of the model, is that all of our top team were trained in the use of the model and became expert assessors in their own right. There are certain aspects of the model which are not always that obvious to understand, and we felt it was very important that the top team, and we had a 2-day training session to become fully aware of actually how the model is assessed. And that was a key part, and we did that in '96. In 1998, we decided for the first time to go in for the European Quality Award, and we likened it to working in a gymnasium for many years, where you knew we were running faster on the treadmill, we were cycling faster, we could lift more weights in the gym, but we didn't really know how good we were. So in 1998, we left the gym, and we joined people like yourselves on the road in a competition to see how good we were, and we became prize winner in '98. And then, as you've heard, in 1999, we won the Large Businesses Award in the European Quality. What I'm going to concentrate on in the time I have available are 3 key areas which I believe are fundamental to producing quality. And they're leadership, people management, and communications. And rather than tell you what I think are our strengths in those areas, I've actually got a slide each on what the European assessors told us were our strengths in those 3 areas. So let's have a look at leadership first of all. And this is what our assessors told us were particularly strong. Europe best, maybe world best, but certainly Europe best. This is quite an important one. I've talked about the involvement of the top team as being leaders in a quality company. You know that. This is not new to you. But what we make sure in our company is that the key programs that we identify each year are owned, managed, and run by members of the top team. And this does not mean top team members turning up at the first project meeting, pouring the coffee, patting everybody on the back, and waving goodbye and wishing them the best of luck, which happens in very many companies. This is the top team rolling their sleeves up, sitting with the project team, week in, week out, month in, month out, until there has been a delivery of the project. This way, the top team are seen to be very much part of creating the sort of company we want to have, a very key leadership issue. What the assessors also found, it's no surprise I guess, is that people right across the company were involved in leading quality initiatives. It is impossible to be a quality company without engaging every person in that. You saw our 98% figure from our staff survey, and all supervisors or managers must be leading quality in whatever they're doing, and that was very strongly witnessed by the assessors when they came in to see us. We talk a lot in Yellow Pages because without getting people to talk, relate, to bring up issues, you will never create the culture that will turn the company around and create real quality. So one of the ways we make sure is that as well as having lots of team meetings, we make sure we have a process whereby effectively everybody in the organisation can talk to everybody else. Now, that's not exactly true, but we make sure that everybody has a route somewhere that they can always raise issues that they wish to. And it may be issues of quality, it may be issues of something. But we make sure that they see lots of senior managers, lots of managers, and there are lots of formal processes in place to make sure that everybody feels they own part of Yellow Pages and can raise issues completely freely. Very important that you do that. My managing director talks about having 3,000 brains in Yellow Pages. We are 3,000 people. We want 3,000 brains working on our behalf. Recognition here is not about pay. This is not about salary at the end of the month, at the end of the year. This is more the soft area of recognizing people who are living the company values. And it can be thank yous, it can be bottles of wine, it can be flowers, whatever is appropriate. It can be a letter from the MD, a letter from the supervisor. But it is fundamental in creating a quality culture that this recognition, sideways, person to person, manager down, up to manager, is growing and thriving within the organization, because that way you will feed quality culture. People will be recognized for doing good work. And this is not about pay. This is about a thank you. It can be a bunch of flowers. It can be theatre tickets. But you have to fund that. Up until about 4 years ago, we had a lot of recognition activity in Yellow Pages, but the funding of it, a lot of it was done from managers' pockets, and maybe they would claim it back. Maybe they would claim it back as petrol for their car. Maybe they would claim it back as a stationery item for the office, because we didn't have this money available. Now we set aside a budget per person in the organisation that the managers are free to spend on every individual. But remember, this is about thank yous. It's not really about spending money, but it's important to have made recognition and to have money set aside to create and fuel that culture. I don't know how important this is in us winning the award last year, but what we've actually done, we've now started a process whereby reports report upwards on their manager. We haven't done it throughout the whole organisation yet, but my direct reports annually complete a report on me and my ability to be a good boss for them. And we've now rolled it out to the next tier. So those reports, their managers will be reporting on them annually. I don't know how important that is. It certainly tears the organisation open and gets rid of a lot of grade barriers and makes people very free, because now we can actually comment on our boss. And surprise, surprise, there was a lot of nervousness about doing this, but people are now very comfortable. There was a lot of people who felt, I cannot allow my staff to report on me. But once they found that the majority of comments they got back were very positive, then they felt a lot easier about it. As an example for me, one of the things I got back from my staff was that I had a habit of running into their meetings because I had an important idea and sort of interrupting. And it doesn't sound very much, but my upward feedback told me, Richard, we have an important job to do as well as you. So if you have a good idea, save it, please, and come to us later on. Small things, but it just creates a real energy within the company. A couple of statistics, because you can't work with quality without measuring how you're doing, like anything else. Yellow Pages is well managed. Our staff's 86%, this is an annual survey, these are the latest figures, say that Yellow Pages is well managed. The benchmark, I have to tell you, is UK companies. It's very difficult to get Europe-wide figures. This is UK, but this is not an average. This is the UK high-performing companies. So it's 86 against 61. Satisfied with recognition, we have 85%. And the UK high-performing companies, less than half of their staff think that they're recognised for doing a good job at work. And you have to worry about the UK when less than half of the staff think that they're recognised appropriately for the work they do. What I'd like to move on to now is what our assessors told us about our people management strengths. We said, as I said earlier on, 3,000 people in our company, and our managing director throughout the year will make sure that he sees every one of those people, not on one-to-ones, that would be impossible, but he makes sure he tours the country and goes to team meetings, and so at least once a year, everybody in the organisation has an opportunity to hear from the managing director what's going on, and for him to tell them to talk to him about issues they've got. This fills his diary. It makes him look very old, but it does mean that you can win customers and you can win quality awards if that's what it's about. But it means we have a very vibrant organisation where the barriers have been broken down. This didn't seem very important to us, but it was picked out by our assessors as being key, which is at the end of each board meeting each month, the top team determine which key communication items will be spread around the company. So at the end of each meeting we sit and we will choose 4 or 5 items that we feel should be passed out to the whole company. This way you manage communications. This way you manage the messages you wish to be put out. And it's important that the top team do that. It's not left to some employee communications department. We deliver service. In delivering adverts to customers in a book, it's just a bit of print on paper. But what we're delivering is service, and it's very important that all of our customer-facing staff, which represents it's about 60% of our staff are customer-facing, that they feel empowered to deliver customer service out of the normal job description that they're given. So we struggled a bit with empowerment at Yellow Pages, not with wanting to do it, but how do you create it? And then we broke it through into recruiting people who can think, so you have to have a good recruitment policy. You train them very well. You set boundaries. People can work within this boundary, but you set the boundary as wide as you possibly can. And you have to lead them very sensitively to allow people to make decisions which they feel uncomfortable with initially, but you're encouraging them to think outside of the norm. And in that way, we now have an empowerment figure. This is 85% of our staff saying, I feel I can do whatever's necessary to deliver excellent customer services. And you heard this morning at one of your talks, the link between people satisfaction and customer satisfaction. There is no question, that is 100% certainty. This again surprised us. We thought this was not good enough. We have an annual staff survey. People are not forced to fill it in. We have a 92% response rate, which we felt should be going up, but we were told by our assessors that for a voluntary survey, this is an excellent figure. And the only reason we get very high figures here is because when people fill in the survey and tell us what needs to be improved in the company, we do something about it. The quickest way to stop a response rate or to reduce a response rate with an annual survey is to not listen to what people tell you. And you have 90% year one, 85%, 80, 75, 70. We've got ours up to 92, and we're keeping it at that sort of level. This is a voluntary scheme, so people do think that we listen on this survey. And again, just some more figures for you. My training prepares me for my job. Yellow Page is 92%. The UK high-performing norm is 67. And my manager gives me regular feedback on my performance, 88% within our company. And again, I say only, I'm not in any way knocking the UK, but it does worry me that only half of the staff in the high-performing companies in the UK get regular feedback from their manager or their supervisor. How you can create energy in an organization, whether it be for customer satisfaction, people satisfaction, quality in total terms, without regularly talking to people about their performance, I have no idea. We've hit 88 because we worked hard at it. 51 seems very, very low indeed. I don't know whether you do staff surveys in your own organizations. I do recommend that you do, and I have no idea what your figures might show there, but it would be interesting for you to compare. The last area of the three I said I would look at is communications. Communications, we believe, is the cement, the concrete that holds everything else together. And one of the key ways that we've done this, and I've brought one to show you here, is that every year we give all of our staff a booklet. This is the 99-2000 booklet. And within this there's a message from the MD, there would be, wouldn't there, on the front page. But in here are the key financials and objectives for this year. So it's saying to people, we want to grow our revenue by so much, we want to reduce error by so much, we want to increase customer retention by so much. The key programs, the key numbers for our business are in here. Every member of our staff gets a copy of this, not left on their desks, not just handed out, but actually communicated by a senior manager at meetings. So people will actually understand what the company is expecting of them. And then on the next pages are the key programs. These are the key projects that we as a company wish to address to drive our company forward this coming year. And each one of these is owned, as I said earlier, by one of the top team members. In the back of the book is a loose leaf fold here, where people will then put their departmental objectives right down to their own personal objectives. And in that way, this document makes people have a very clear view. This is what the company expects to do this year. This is what my department expects to do, my team, and this is my role in delivering that. So even the most junior member of your organization, in our organization, has a very clear understanding. And what we say to people is this is rather like a jigsaw puzzle. This is the picture on the front of a jigsaw puzzle. There are 3,000 pieces because we have 3,000 people. And your piece matters. You will have done jigsaw puzzles yourself. Nothing worse than having that one piece missing. And that really reminds people, no matter how junior they are, That one piece missing spoils the picture for Yellow Pages. Everybody has an equal opportunity to deliver in this company. And the other thing we did, which is pure theatre, it's pure marketing, running down here, you won't be able to see it, and through all the pages here, there's a band which has the individual staff names of every one of our 3,000 people. So when we give this out, this is a very personal document, and the first 5 minutes of the presentation are all trying to find out where their name is. But it actually makes people feel very comfortable about working for Yellow Pages and feeling part of the organisation. The previous year, I won't go into this too much. This is last year. The previous year's booklet has a big fingerprint, which is about you make us unique. And again, running through it are all the names of the 3,000 people in the organisation. That is actually quite fundamental. And this was told to us by the assessors as being one of the best examples of communication of objectives that they've ever seen. The other thing that we're very keen on, I said to you, you've got to talk a lot. If you want to create a quality organisation, you must talk. Talk to your people, let them talk to you. So we have a number of communications activities, just a few of them in our company. Company-wide reviews, we encourage our departments to take people off-site for half a day, maybe a whole day, at least once a year, to talk about how they're doing as a department, to get a senior manager along to talk about how the company's doing, and then to progress areas within their own department that need improving. But it's making people feel really important in the company. The MD Forum is that twice a year my MD takes away the top 200 managers in Yellow Pages, just for a day. We hear from him, we hear from customers, people give presentations, very much getting those people involved in the company. Uncles, just very briefly, this is not something you will have read in any management textbook. We have about 45 sales teams in the UK. We have 15 top team members on the board. The salespeople are, for most of our customers, the only personal contact they will have with the Yellow Pages organisation. So it's absolutely fundamental that salespeople really feel listened to and really feel involved in the company. So each top team member is an uncle or an aunt, because we have aunties as well, to 3 sales teams. I have Northern Ireland, Belfast, a big chunk of the centre of England, and Reading and Guildford, near where I operate from. So I have 3 sales teams, and I go out and see them at least twice a year, maybe 3 times, present to them, listen to them, talk to them, go out and visit their customers. But that way, you've got the board members, you've got the salespeople working as one, and there is no gap in between at all. Just a couple of figures again off our annual staff survey. 96% of our staff say they have a clear understanding of the group objectives, which is that booklet I showed you, and 96% felt their team had clear objectives. If you're taking your company in that direction, you need all of your staff knowing where you're going, and hopefully they'll come with you. We seem to have achieved some sort of success, but there are still 4%. I mean, yes, we are looking for them. What I'd like to end on is really what I would call the secrets of our success. And this is really more personal from me rather than anything that the assessors have said and what we believe in our company. The use of the model has been fundamental since 1993 in driving quality through our organisation. Of that, there is no doubt. We use it as an audit. Not all of our staff have an understanding of the model. They don't need to. We use it as an audit process through the self-assessment. Strengths we build on, areas for improvement we improve through our planning programme. But that's been fundamental in the last 7 years. This is the easiest bit to say. This is the 3 words. This is the I love you. Very easy to say it, very difficult to bring it in. But unless you've got leaders in your company who are real leaders and who are role models who will lead people, you are going to struggle with quality. You cannot just program quality in. You cannot issue quality notes. You have to have leaders that live and breathe this. And we believe, we have failures as well, of course. We believe we've generated quite a lot of really very good leaders running throughout our company. Another 3, I love you. You see, it's very easy, all these, aren't they? Highly motivated workforce. We deliver 3,000 people. We have 3,000 people working for our company with a clear view. We'd like to think they're all highly motivated. Are all of them highly motivated every day? No. Are most of them reasonably well motivated most of the time? Yes. And the job is to keep it sort of going all the time. But we do believe we've achieved some of this, but you have to keep working at it. I've talked a lot about communications. You cannot take away communications as a fundamental of cementing the whole of your quality piece together. And the only point I would pick up on there is, I think we've talked about it pretty well, but I'd like to go over. I've said clarity and honesty. If you tell people what you're going for, monthly, weekly, hourly, daily, whatever, and you don't achieve, tell them that you didn't achieve, tell them why, and tell them what you're doing about it. We lived 5, 6 years ago in our company pretending that things were fine when they weren't, because we thought that staff couldn't cope with truth. We thought you could only tell them the good news and we'll keep the bad stuff out of the way. But people aren't that stupid, and they then thought we were liars because we said everything's fine, but they knew it wasn't. So we turned round, and now we're very honest. In the booklet that I showed you, we also talk about last year's performance, and we say in there, we didn't hit this target. And this is why, and this is what we're doing about it this year. So it's so important to be honest in your communications. You have to create somehow in your organisation this hugely strong sense of purpose where people really believe and can see what they've got to do. Part of that is the objectives booklet, part of it is just getting everybody involved in the company, understanding what their role is, training and everything goes with it. But you really have to have everybody walking along on this strong sense of purpose, knowing what they're trying to do and how important they are. And this huge sense of involvement that there's a saying in Yellow Pages in the UK, which is a bit silly, but which is, cut me and I will bleed yellow. And unless you bleed yellow, you aren't really part of the Yellow Pages team. And this strong sense of involvement, I guess, is really part of that cut me and I bleed yellow. And then the last point, which this is not original thinking, I stole this, I can't remember who I stole it from, but you have to push yourselves, but admit that you won't always get there. So we would rather be a 14 out of 15 company. In other words, we set 15 very challenging targets. We failed on one, we got 14 right, than to be 10 out of 10, where we set 10 easy targets and achieved them. I'd rather be 14 out of 15 than 10 out of 10. And that's been part of our culture too. And that's really, I think, in the time available, all I can share with you. So thank you very much indeed for inviting me, and I hope that has been of some use to you in the short time I have available. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you, Richard, for that excellent presentation. Culture comes from cultivating, and I think you have shown us a magic truth in it. Cultivating a culture, it needs the top cultivators, the top senior management team to do it, and not the poor quality manager, not delegate it to the poor quality manager. That was an example of leadership, I think. Thank you very much. Meine Damen und Herren, nun schenken wir Ihnen etwas ganz Wertvolles, nämlich Zeit. Zeit für die zeitlose Schönheit der Musik und die anmutige Bewegung des klassischen Tanzes in einem der schönsten Konzertsäle unserer Zeit. Adrian Oettiker hat sich in den letzten Jahren international einen Namen gemacht, als Solist wie als Kammermusiker. Bereiste er mit viel Erfolg Europa und Amerika. 1995 gewann er den internationalen Klavierwettbewerb der ARD in München. Zudem erhielt er Auszeichnungen an internationalen Wettbewerben in Köln, Vevey, Dublin und New York. 1994 wurde ihm der Kulturförderpreis seiner Heimatstadt St. Gallen verliehen. Für die laufende Saison sind eine Europatournee mit dem Melbourne Symphony Orchestra sowie Auftritte in Kanada und Südamerika geplant. Im Anschluss an Adrian Oettiker sehen Sie eine Balletteinlage der jungen Basler Tänzerin und Preisträgerin Juliette Brunner. Sie sehen also heute Spielen und Tanzen Preisträger für Preisträger. Und nun viel Vergnügen mit Chopins Ballade in Astur, interpretiert von Adrian Oettiker.